Hey. All right, how y'all doing out there at home? Everybody here in Revolution Books, I want you to make some noise and say hi to people. So as you can hear, there's a few dozen people gathered at New York City Revolution Books to have a send-off party and celebration for the National Get Organized for an Actual Revolution tour. My name is Noche Diaz. I'm one of the people who's going to be leaving to be part of this tour, going down to LA. I'm joined here by...
And I'm Lulun Sokoyote, and I'm here also with the tour.
So for those of y'all just tuning in, we did a live stream last week, which if you were or were not part of, this was to raise big funds to even get these people down to LA to start off this phase of the tour. Okay, we had a goal of raising $10,000 to get people down there and to concentrate forces in LA. We're going to say a little bit more about that, but I want people who maybe didn't get to catch the entire live stream because it went a little bit over time, and those who may have missed it altogether to know that we made it. We got the 10,000. We went a little bit over. Within a few days afterwards, the marker was at 14,000.
361.
That is something to be very excited about. It's why we're able to get out of this place and get down to LA to start off this phase of the tour. It's why some people are not here with us today because they've already left because of what people watching at home, people who are part of that live stream, part of donating, were able to actually raise the funds to get people over to LA and get this thing started off. But we are just getting started, okay? This was to start off a process of raising the funds that are needed to actually do what we're setting out to do. And 10,000 is a necessary start, but it's got to be part of building momentum. We have another goal of, by the end of March, raising 50,000. We're going to say a little bit more about why we need this so urgently to get started. But before jumping all the way into all that, we're going to pause and just walk you through some things about how, the people who are actually going to be going down there and what they have to say, how they're feeling, and I know everybody here is really anxious to hear from people, and we're very anxious to say what's on our mind. But I do want to let people know watching at home, again, this is part of a beginning of building momentum. Wherever you are part of making revolution, okay? And raising the funds that necessary is a big part of how we're going to actually do this and wheel together the efforts of people all around the country, including the people right here in this room.
That's right. So we want to thank everybody who was a part of that, but we also want to put to people, look, we have to go out there and change society. Putting this to people, what it would actually mean to have this tour succeed. We're talking about making a breakthrough, concentrating forces in LA, and like Noche was saying, there are people who are already leaving. There's people who are leaving soon, and that's part of why we're even having these different send-off parties. And actually, there's going to be one that's happening in Chicago on Saturday.
What's up, Chicago?
You can check out where it is if you go to their page on Facebook, or if you check out their social media.
Or I can tell you right now.
Or he can tell you.
It's going to be at the Revolution Club Organizing Center in Chicago on 1857 East 71st Street. It's going to be at 4 p.m. Saturday, February 29th. So join folks out there, bring a dish, bring a donation, and bring your determination to see a whole different, far better world.
So I think it would be good to kind of get into even in brief, some of why you're excited to actually be going on the road, and also we do want to give a short update from people in LA. I called somebody earlier who was telling me, look, people have been going out putting this to people, putting Baba Vacant to people, and actually putting to people, there's a quote that says, women are not bitches, hoes, punching bags, or breeders. Putting that to people, and there's been a lot of, people going, hey, wait, agreeing with this, but also saying, what are you saying this could be different? What are you saying we could actually have something else? And a comrade was telling me about a story about actually how talking to one of these students and actually breaking open, that clip that people watched earlier called What If, where Vakian talks about imagining a world where a woman can actually look a man in the eye and fear nothing. You know, and this woman like broke into tears, you know, even thinking about like, you know, how could that be? And I think that there's a lot of potential here, and people see this, you know, you go all over in different places when we brought this through, and I think that it's very needed to actually be breaking this open right here, right now on International Women's Day. And I think that people who, are hearing about this are actually also themselves getting prepared too. So I do want to say, like, we had a brief kind of update from people, but there's still a lot of preparation that needs to happen that you can be involved in. One, from donating, but also joining, you know. There's going to be
for y'all out in LA.
Yeah, for people in LA, there's going to be mass organizing meetings. The first one is going to be February 27th, starting at 6:30 on Thursday. And this will be at 1609 Wilshire Boulevard, Los Angeles, California. So that's tomorrow, 6:30. And then there will be another one on March 5th, 6:30, same place, 1609 Wilshire Boulevard. And also, if you want to step in and be a part of helping to organize, you know, for the march, there's going to be a march where people are actually bringing symbols of what they actually want to see an end to when it comes to the oppression of women. You know, so people should bring those different things. And then there's going to be a party that's happening later, you know, at 3 p.m. I'll say where. But for people who actually want to be a part of helping organize this, there's an organizing committee. Contact the Revolution Club out there in LA. Their number is 323-245-6947, or you can contact people on social media at Rev Club. This is all is all lowercase, sorry. At Rev Club _LA. So that's, you know, where you can reach people to actually be a part of an organizing committee for either the march itself or this gathering celebration afterwards.
Yeah, I think that's a great transition to, you know, we were talking to a comrade earlier today who's going to be joining us, leaving town and going to LA, and they actually, you know, had a lot to say about, you know, what we're setting out to do and to launch this phase of the tour in LA through International Women's Day. And in a second, I'm going to want Amina to come up here and share her thoughts and her feelings about going down there and what we're setting out to do. I do want to remind people again, all of this requires all of you, okay, in all kinds of ways. Practical involvement, ideas. We're forging a national fundraising team, and that's going to be putting out thoughts on how people can work together to raise the funds. People can write to us, you know, get organized for revolution at gmail.com. Go to revcom.us, okay?
Yeah, no, that's correct.
That's correct. I was right. Get organized for revolution at gmail.com, okay?
Get organized for revolution tour at gmail.com.
Get organized for revolution tour at gmail.com, okay? Write to us about ideas and thoughts on how, because again, we have to raise $50,000 by the end of March. And again, there's this crew of people that are from different parts of the country that are coming to gather in LA. They need to have a place to sleep. They need food to eat, okay? They need to be able, you know, without having to, we're not going down there to get jobs in LA where we can, you know, dig in and waste away. We're going down there to actually make the breakthroughs that are needed. You know, I want to say more about this in a little bit, but that cannot happen if you are not part of sustaining the people who are going there to be that team that is going to break the ice, okay? With the tools that we have, which you heard from, which, you know, anyway, I'm going to say more about that, but you are needed now to donate, to be part of raising the funds, and it's also a way to involve people in learning about and becoming part of the revolution as you do that, okay? It's not just to help us do our thing, okay? Because then it's not going to be able to get anywhere. This is part of what we are all doing. Okay, and so go to revcom.us. You can hit that donate button. Have a viewing party at your house of one of the films of Bob Avakian speaking, of the live streams. We are launching a whole new web presence in the coming weeks and months that is going to include a YouTube channel with regular shows that bring together the revolution that we're building and why we need this revolution and what leadership we have to make this revolution. This is something that people can tune in together to watch and bring people together to learn and to be part of raising the funds to make this revolution happen. And it's also part of what we need the funds for. Okay, because if we're not going to be able to launch this YouTube channel and a new website that's going to be totally revamped and revitalized to play the role that it needs to play, if we do not raise the funds starting at the end of March with the $50,000 to be able to get the kind of equipment you need to actually make recordings, where you're not using somebody's phone to try to live stream off of Facebook, or you're not just, we're very grateful for Revolution Books letting us use this space today, but you can't do that all the time. Okay, this store has to have lots of programming, and some of that's going to have to get up on the YouTube channel as well. But the show has got to be able to have a space in LA where we can actually produce this show, and we're going to need a whole new organizing center. Last week we did it in a not so great space for it, okay, where a team that was doing live updates on the donations coming in and the comments was hiding out in the staircase behind a locked door, okay, and we had to have the camera phone taped to a roll of tape so that it can be held up, and somebody was actually also making sure it didn't fall off of that, okay? And so this is not how you can actually do what we're setting out to do, okay? We need the equipment that we need to be able to do this, and the space that's needed to do that, and also serve as an organizing center to bring people to work with, and to have a place where people can come together to learn about the revolution as they're taking part in it. So go to revcom.us, donate, tell everyone you know. We have to be on a mission the course of March to get to the 50,000 goal. Okay, and this is what you are all part of. So with that, again, we're going to say a little bit more about the people. You're going to hear from the people that you're part of actually sustaining and getting down to LA and to do this. So why don't you come up and say hello to everybody, Mina?
Okay, so very excited. So I'm going to expand a little bit on what Luan had said around International Women's Day, because I think it's very important, right? You look out in the world, what half of humanity is being forced to live in. I think what people were resonating with in the What If clip, and also what's exerted, right? The half of humanity that is raped, beaten, brutalized, or forced, enslaved into to be nothing more than breeders of children. This is the future that we're living in, and it's completely unnecessary. And we're also celebrating and putting very powerfully forward that there is a way out and that there's leadership, and we're organizing people into that revolution. And I thought what was mentioned earlier around, what if the world didn't have to be this way, right? What if half of humanity didn't have to be forced to only have those options of being a sex object or being, a mother. This is the world that's actually possible, and it's not going to happen through just wishful thinking. And it is going to happen with people stepping forward and being part of this. So we're calling on everybody here. We're very excited to go down to LA. It's very warm weather, but it's going to be, it's going to be an important opportunity to actually put this revolution, put this leadership before thousands, before millions, and to really organize and call on people here in LA to be part of the tour down. Here in New York, to be part of the tour down in LA. So anyways, there's a lot more to say. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of joy. And there's a lot of struggle that we got to go out and wage. So this will be very important. So very thankful for the opportunity to say a few words. And I'll get off the stage now.
Okay, so next we actually want to have Joey Johnson, who's going to be on the tour, affectionately known as JJ. This is somebody who's with the Revolution Club and who's going to be going to LA, so we want to bring him up to share with you.
Yeah!
It's tremendous to be here with you all tonight. It's tremendous to be part of this tour. I'm very moved by all of the support that we're getting for the tour. I think it really resonates with people, and people really feel the urgency. You know, we have to make this breakthrough. We're not leaving LA until we get the kind of geometric growth that the revolution needs, that bring forward the thousands that are going to be the leaders of millions in the future. We're not leaving LA until we get that kind of geometric growth, but we don't have a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, we're in a race against time. There is a fascist regime that's running this shit, that's running this system, and is ready to run humanity into the fucking ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to wrench a whole different future for humanity. And that's what the tour is about. We have the leadership of Bob Avakian. There's never been communist leadership like this on the planet, who's brought forward a whole new framework for human emancipation, a new communism. Put the science of revolution on a more scientific basis. So we have this, and we got to go out and fight to connect it up with the masses of people. Down in the neighborhoods in South Central and East LA, on the college campuses, places like UCLA, we got to grow. And there's a real basis. And some of it we've laid throughout the course of the tour already, when it was previously in LA, or when it was in Chicago, or here in New York. But there's much that cries out to be done, and there's hope on a scientific foundation. So that's what I'm excited to be part of it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, JJ. I think that, yeah, we also want to call up someone else who's going to be on the tour, Carl Dix. We want him to share a few words.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just excited, that's all.
We'll cut that out.
We'll get it in
I'm
post.
excited. I get like this. No, look. This is critical. I mean, the world is crying out for this kind of revolution. The planet is burning and melting. We got a fascist regime consolidating power here in this country. Fascist confabs with Modi and Trump getting together and touting each other's consolidation of fascism. The rights of the people are hanging in the balance. I mean, there are legislators calling for the Supreme Court to review Roe versus Wade, which is like get rid of it and let us re-enslave half of the population in this country, the female half. And then people are getting told that the way they deal with this is go out and pick somebody who is running to head this empire and do it in a different way. People need to know that the world can be different than this. Not through lining up behind somebody who's going to head it and promise you something better, but by getting rid of this capitalist imperialist system. And that there's leadership for it. Leadership that they mostly don't know about. And this tour is going to be taking to them the message that that leadership exists and the content of that leadership, and challenging them to engage it and get with it. This is what humanity needs, and there's nothing better to put your life into. That's it.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I want to hear from Luan.
Yeah.
I do want to, remind everybody watching to share this video, tag your friends, go to revcom.us and make a donation to advance this revolution tour, and share the video so that people can hear about the people who are setting out to do this. And without further ado, Luan.
So, I'm excited to go too. I'm really excited. We went out to change things last year, and there was a lot that we learned in that process, and we did make a breakthrough, and we're going back out there. And I want to say, you look at everything that's going on in the world right now. I was just reading an article about how there's literally a femicide going on, which means all these women are being murdered just because they're women. You look at what's happening, in Mexico, and they're saying, in this article, the woman who was writing it was saying that the percentage has actually gone up in the past few years by 137%. You think about the world that we're living in, where there's so much hopelessness, where youth have absolutely no hope for the future, are looking at it with such dread and despair. And then you think about this and the hope that could actually bring for people. You think about not only imagining and dreaming of a different world, but the fact that there's a constitution on how a different world could actually be forged and fought for, and how we could actually go to work on getting rid of these divides. You think about that there's a leader who not only has done this, but actually has a deep heart for the people, who actually gives a fuck, who cares, you know? And is actually fighting for other people to become leaders as well, you know? I think that it's really important, one, that there's people who are putting their lives to this, and that this is actually possible for many others to step forward and join into. And I'm happy to be a part of that. And I actually want to put the challenge back out to other people to actually be a part of that as well. You know, this is only beginning. It's only starting. And we're out to grow this. And that means you actually being a part of it as well. And everyone who's hearing this, whether it's online or here in this room, we got some work to do. You look out at this world, and there's so many people who have no idea that there is this leader, Bob Avakian. Never heard of the Revolution Club, never heard of Revolution Books, never heard of the New Communism. And think about all those people and the deep potential that they actually have to become leaders, to become people who are fighting to be emancipators of all of humanity. We're not talking about just making people's lives better here in this country. We're talking about changing everything. We're talking about getting all of humanity free. This is a revolution not about revenge. It's about emancipation and the liberation of all humanity. And I just want to, say thank you, everybody, for being here, for tuning in tonight, and for stepping into this process. And I want to put this challenge very clearly to people. You've taken a look at this in a basic way. Now, what are you going to do? That's it. So I want to ask Noche, like what you would want to say too.
Yeah. Well, first of all, give it up for everyone else too. Who's, luckily, they've left me with not that much more to say, but some things, because we're all very excited to get down to LA. But it's not like we have any illusions that we're going into just some fun times, okay? And I know for me, it's very much, we are heading back into the breach. And I mean that not metaphorically. There was an actual break in the wall that was made in the first round of this tour. In this program today, at the top of it, you saw 2 videos, okay? If you are watching on this live stream, go to revcom.us and look for the video from Bob Avakian, What If? Okay? And then there was another video that was a trailer letting people know about the last phase and this announcement of this next phase of the Revolution Tour. And I do just want to say, I mentioned in that second video, we didn't go out to people with a bunch of hype and delusion. And that fucking matters. When you listen to Bob walk through what if the world could be different, and then you see those faces of the people who saw dozens and scores of people marching in Revolution Nothing Less shirts, marching in formation, something that has not been seen before. People who do not allow themselves to hope or to dream of a different world allow themselves for a second. And they don't allow themselves most of the time because it hurts to hope. Bob has talked about this in his book, The New Communism. It hurts to hope because those hopes are dashed all the time. Because those hopes so often are based on something that doesn't even have the possibility to do anything good. You see a lot of this now today, and people getting pulled along in one or another dead end that leads people back into this system. Good people who want a different world. And you see all over the world, youth who have risen up to demand that they want a future that isn't one of an entire environmental meltdown where human civilization can't even exist anymore. You've seen people in country after country rise up against hated regimes, even driving them out in some cases, but not seeing a way to actually end the system that gave rise to that. Everywhere, people need a different world. They do not have this leadership, okay? What Bob Avakian has done is to put those hopes on a scientific grounding so that it has the potential to break through and not just knife people in the back again by raising their hopes, raising their sights, and then leaving them to the mercy of this system once again. That's what people got a taste of when you saw them marching in the streets, okay? Dozens of people, revolution, nothing less. It wasn't enough. It didn't break through, and we left too early. But we're going back into the breach, okay? And there's the walls that this fascist wants to put on the border to keep the humanity that is fucking driven from their homelands by this system out to create a fortress nation. And then there's a wall around people's imaginations, okay, that is being erected and solidified every day. That this is the best of all possible worlds, that there's nothing we can do about it. And that is a fucking lie. And we're going to break down those walls with the truth that a whole other world is possible, not because we say so, not because we're full of fire and passion that just comes from nowhere, but because we have the leadership and we're proud to call ourselves followers of Bob Avakian. Everybody wants to be a brand these days. Everybody wants to be self-made. Everybody's thinking this system way of trying to get themselves forward. Well, we're thinking about humanity and what humanity needs to get free. That's why we're not ashamed to call ourselves followers of BA, because he has fought and fought to forge a road out of the darkness. Real hope for humanity on a scientific foundation. And we're going back once more into the breach to break that wall down in people's thinking and to break down the walls that this system erects in reality amongst different groups of people. Make an actual revolution as soon as possible. Bring forward the thousands now into the ranks of the revolution who themselves are learning about this leadership, taking it up, and going to work to change everything with it. Yeah. This is what we sparked in LA last year. This is the job we're going back to finish. And it's only going to be a start, okay, and a model when we break through in LA, but it's going to matter, okay? Go back and watch some of the video. You saw clips in that trailer, but go back and watch, you can watch Joe Veal speaking at the site of the LA Rebellion, where people after the beating of Rodney King by the LAPD rose up in powerful rebellion but could not end the oppression that they were fighting. And talk about what it means now that we have a leadership that can go all the way. Someone who came out, Joe Veal, who came out of the Black Panther Party when there were revolutionaries who were stepping out with revolution but did not have a way to win and did not have an understanding of what was involved and what they were up against, what it means that we have that now, and what you saw in the streets was a force representing what we have now, not just resurrecting specters and ghosts of the past, but prefiguring the future that we're fighting to bring into being. Followers of BA prefiguring an emancipated world, because that is what we have today that people have not had before. That is what we're going out to change everything with. That is why we're going down to LA. That's why I'm so fucking excited. And I do just, before, I'm excited to go to LA, but I'm also excited that all you guys are here today in the Revolution books, because I gotta say, this bookstore and its different it played a big role in why who I am today. Not that I'm some special person, but because the point is, I was someone who hated the way the world is and did not know a damn thing about how it could be different. And I could have become one of the millions of people who end up just becoming hopeless, demoralized, and full of despair. Right. But because of this bookstore, I was able to find some of the works of Bob Avakian and more. On the basis of what he developed too, I learned about things I wasn't even interested in before: art, poetry. I know people laugh, but you don't think about some of those things. And some people are not even allowed to think about some of those things. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and they're locked out of it, not because they don't have any creative spirit, not because they're not full human beings, but because this world beats that out of you. Okay. Science. This world beats the curiosity out of children.
Yeah.
Find any kid, and they will ask you a million questions. Why? You want to know what science is? That's what it is. You ask why, and you keep asking why, and you want to find the answer. And you don't put up with it when people try to sell you a bunch of nonsense. But that gets beaten out of you in a million ways. You get science in the new communism, but in this bookstore, you opened up to a world of science, okay, and a scientific approach to the world, okay. You get opened up to stories, literature, novels of people from all parts of the world, people youth don't even learn to think about, from places you don't even ever hear about, but who are human beings just like us, who share the world that we all live in, and that's being destroyed by this system. And you learn here not just a lot of interesting things, but how you can play a role in changing everything. So everyone who's here tonight, and who's not going to be going to LA tomorrow or whenever, you have a role to play in this bookstore. Because it's not a given that it's going to be here.
That's right.
It's not a guarantee that it's going to be what it needs to be. You have you know, the only bookstores around besides this, a lot of them are just gift shops. And you know, it's not to degrade people who do those bookstores, but it's a different world. And the life that's here could get suffocated out without you. Okay? And so we're going to LA to do some amazing things, to change the course of history, but that does not let any of you off the hook. Okay? You don't get to, glad they're doing that. Okay? And I gotta tell you, as someone who lived in a different city for a little while, you do not know what you have in this city that you have Revolution Books. You don't. I didn't know. And I loved it, and I loved this bookstore, and I didn't know what we had here and what we could lose. Okay? Don't let that song come true of you don't know what you got till it's gone. Okay? Don't let that be the story of you in this bookstore. Let's appreciate what we have here and fight to make it everything that it can be and needs to be. Again, especially those of you who are not coming to LA. Okay? If I haven't made eye contact with you, just imagine me making eye contact with you. Okay? Because I'm talking to you. And the tour needs funds to do what it needs to do, but this bookstore also needs to become financially sustainable. Okay? Selling books doesn't do it, folks. You could talk to Jane, Emma. There's other folks here who are staff of the bookstore who are going to stand up right now so that I know who they are.
Brenda, Connie,
Raymond, Rana, Connie, I don't know where she is. Oh, people at the desk, obviously. Yeah, okay, yeah. Tatu. So these are people you can talk to about how to find your place in the life of this bookstore and in the revolution that we're making for all of humanity. Those of you watching at home, this is for you too, okay? Both LA, if you're on the West Coast or the East Coast and you want to get out to LA and run with the tour, well, it's out there. Write to us, reach out, you know, say why you want to do this, okay? And we'll be having things like revolution classes, different weeks where we're having people come together, you know, to run with the tour and be part of this experiment and project that's fighting to make these breakthroughs. If you can't do that, you can actually come to New York and be part of the life of the bookstore, okay? This is how some people actually themselves became trained and developed revolutionaries and revolutionary leaders, is by coming to spend some time in New York to volunteer with the bookstore. You know, you can do that too, all right? So reach out, go to revcom.us, go to revolutionbooksnyc.org, okay? Reach out to the tour at getorganizedforrevolutiontour@gmail.com, okay? Or DM us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Tune Into RevCom.
like to say goodnight, you know, to the people who are on the live stream tuning in. Once again, people can donate at revcom.us or on Venmo at Revolution Tour, or right here if you're here in this room. So we're gonna close out and see you when we go to LA. See you next time when we live stream.
All right.
I think Jam and Em are gonna. We're not done yet, but they're gonna close us out.